Unsurprisingly, the Nerd and Tie podcast is a part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. For more podcasts from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by finding an invite at nerdandtie.com/discord. Did you know you could sponsor Nerd and Tie? That's right, for just $20, we'd say your name here. We'd say how cool you are, and we'd compliment you on those shoes. Your shoes are looking great, Ben. See how great that would have sounded if I had said your name instead of Ben's? And think how sad Ben is now that he knows that I was just complimenting his name randomly instead of because he gave us $20. And if he gave us $20, I would have meant it. Just go to nerdandtie.com and click on the sponsor form thingy on the menu. The thing at the top with the links that says sponsor us. Click on that and find more information there. We're professionals.
On this month's edition of Nerd and Tie, we remember Leiji Matsumoto. The Mandalorian doesn't have an ending yet. James Gunn has Phase 1 of DC's new slate picked out. Picard is back for one more season. Poker Face is amazing. All that and the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge this month on Nerd Cone Tie. I probably should have looked up what the Spanish way of saying nerd and tie would be, but
You effectively said nerd with tie?
See.
Not nerd and like E would be
tie.
And, but you went with nerd with tie, which is, I mean, besides losing the pun.
I mean, yeah, well, it's not like I took Spanish for 4 years and scored really well in it or anything. I did that. I actually did that. I just haven't practiced it in forever. Whatever. Anyway, welcome everyone to another monthly edition of Nerd and Tie. I am Celeste, and as always, I am best. Correcting my horrific Spanish is the wondiferous Trey Dorn.
Now you're using my words.
Yeah, I'm using your words against you, for you. I'm bad at... I'm not good at being mean. And quietly moving in, waiting to strike, it's the legendary Genjamin Proc.
Yeah.
Ah!
So there's this thing. Amazon, I ordered this cable from Amazon. Right? I am holding this cable from Amazon. It is in my hands. They delivered it to me a week ago. Amazon keeps sending me emails apologizing for my cable not being here yet. They keep telling me that the shipping is updated and with new estimates even later and later. And I don't know. And I can't tell them not to do anything. They don't have a link for that. I don't know what to do. I have the it's in my hand. I'm looking at it. I'm touching it. I'm holding it. It is here. Amazon. I have it.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know what to tell you about that, bud.
You delivered it to me.
I did not. Amazon.
Stop Amazon. Stop trying to re-deliver it to me. It's here. I don't need another one.
Well, that's... I don't even know what to make of that. That's wild. We have a pretty interesting slate this month. Although it's February was a little bit slow. I'll be the first to admit, but I kind of want to start us off this month on a bit of a downer note, and then it's pretty positive from here on in. I promise.
It's okay. I primed them with a downer by talking about Amazon.com.
Fair. We found out last week, although the actual date of his passing was earlier than that on February 13th of 2023, we didn't find out till a week later, that legendary manga author, artist, and Japanese TV creator Leiji Matsumoto passed away at the age of 85 due to complications with heart failure. If Matsumoto Sensei's name is familiar, it's because he created some truly legendary pieces of Japanese space opera, including solely creating Galaxy Express 39 and Captain Harlock, that entire franchise. He was also the co-creator of Space Battleship Yamato, or Star Blazers for the people from the late 70s, early 80s who only remember it under that name. I don't think you can undersell what a stranglehold this guy had on like space anime for the end of the 70s and almost the entirety of the 80s. Even something that a lot of, and if you're not familiar with any of those other things, something that you may be familiar with is he was the animator and story person for the Daft Punk feature-length music video Interstellar 5555, which is the entirety of the Discovery album, but as an anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's excellent. But yeah, real shock. I'm kind of beside myself. I've never really made it a secret that I'm a big Leiji fan. And just losing him it's heartbreaking. Like, I mean, granted, he was 85, so he lived a long life. He obviously left a huge impact on people, and a lot of his stories are about mortality and the memories of the people we hold dear carrying on with us even after they pass. But it doesn't make it any easier. I guess one other thing that I thought was kind of sweet was a co-host of our sister show, Famicom Dojo, Vink, got to visit Matsumoto's hometown, where there's not only a memorial, but there are bronze statues of a couple of Matsumoto's most famous characters, the aforementioned Captain Harlock and Maytel from Galaxy Express 39, where people have delivered flowers to the bronze statues, and it's really sweet. I don't know. It's been a downer. I just wanted to memorialize such an amazing man while we could. And if you're not familiar with his work, check out that Daft Punk video. Also, or series of videos, I guess, because they're legally uploaded in separate chunks, but it tells a full story. And or go on to Retro Crush. There's a lot of Space Battleship, or there's a lot of Captain Harlock on there. There's some Galaxy Express 39. Yamato's a way bigger pain in the butt to get a hold of for some reason, but the remake was really good. That's on Crunchyroll. I don't know, just remember the man. He was really a once in a lifetime kind of person.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I got real.
No, it's okay. We share your sentiment.
It's just really legendary person. So we salute you, Leiji. I hope that your journey to the Sea of the Stars is a safe one. So that's kind of our downer start, but let's talk about something, I guess, happier, but still with space. So in a recent interview, Mandalorian showrunner Jon Favreau revealed that they don't have an ending planned out for The Mandalorian yet at this time. And a lot of people are getting upset about that.
It's so reason. Fucking wild, man.
Weird.
It's all right. So so Jon Favreau did an interview, talk to the press about Mandalorian stuff, because Mandalorian season 3 is coming up pretty soon, and
Wednesday from when we're recording this.
Yeah, it's and he said that they already have season 4 written. They have said that, and that season 4 is planned out, but that they don't have a preset ending for the show. And a lot of people, like, I've seen like this take that, like, oh, but serialized prestige television, you should know where you're going with the story, and like there should be an ending. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here going, why? I mean, like, the show's not written, like, people point out, like, someone pointed out to me that, like, oh, but the show's not written episodically. It's, you know, it's written with like a serialized storytelling. But it's like, I'm like, it's not episodic in the sense that it's not like an episode, but they treat each season as a standalone story effectively. So it's fine, guys. This is what.
So, like, while there is an ongoing story, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Mandalorian works so well is that it is pretty episodic, even
It's
if
true.
it is.
There are a bunch of episodic stories in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but like, I like the fact that you can go from Seven Samurai pastiche to to space train robbery within the same season.
Yeah. It's like people like and well, here's the thing is that, like, people say that and I'm like, but that's 99% of television shows don't have preset endings. Additionally, when the shows that do have preset endings, sometimes the writers get so preoccupied with an ending they came up with 5 or 6 years ago that they will try to shoehorn themselves into that ending without it anymore being the, like, it's no longer the natural progression for the characters.
Right, long after it makes sense.
I didn't watch the Dexter revival, but I will tell you, like, everything wrong with the last couple episodes of the show Dexter was because they wanted to stick to an ending they wrote during the first season.
I've heard a lot of people have said that about, like, the How I Met Your Mother suffers of,
well,
the trying to fit a pre-planned ending.
Yeah. It's
I can think of others, but, like, I'm sorry here. I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, within the industry, a lot of these things are not planned out. The MCU isn't actually planned, like, very thoroughly. They're just good at making it look like it is.
Well, and yeah, although some people would criticize the MCU for not being better planned, but, you know, it's...
I mean, no, that's fair. But, like, I guess an even better example is, like, if the Mandalorian showrunners were dead set on sticking to a plan they had from the beginning, they would already be piss out of luck because they're short a Gina Carano now.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't feel that it's a big loss to not have that character. But, like, there was all this plan to make her character this really important, like, spin-off show character, and that plan's been completely jettisoned.
Yeah.
These things evolve naturally.
Well,
and that's okay.
And here's the thing, like, I think the reason why people are up in arms about it is because of the sequel trilogy and it is true, when they started making the sequel trilogy for the Star Wars franchise, they did not plan it out at all. And they should have. Like, but that's different. Like, that's, like, as I said earlier, Favreau has said they have planned out season 4. They know how season 4 is going to end before they start filming it. And that's what you should do. And that's why, like, they should have had a planned ending with the trilogy, because they knew the trilogy had an end, right? Like, it's when you're planning a show, though, if you just plan one season at a time, that's fine, because the only thing you're guaranteed is the season, right? Like,
I mean, also, though, I guess I'm still of the, like, if I look at and I know it's not, I'm not going to pretend that the original outline for episode 9 is any better, but it sure looks like thematically the original idea for episode 9 sure seemed a lot more cohesive with episode 8 than what we got. Almost like losing the director meant that that they decided to rewrite the entire script because the new director didn't like it, and Disney executives didn't want to pay the old director a producer credit. Oh. That's a thing.
But
too.
I think that's where it comes from, though, is that like I think that's part of it. And there's this expectation that our showrunners are supposed to be better planned, and I don't know if people just aren't used to writing ongoing serialized stories. Like I did a comic for 10 years. You know, I never planned, like, eventually as I got into like the last 3 years of the comic, and I knew that like I preset the ending of the comic several years before I ended it. I did have a general plan for the remaining like arcs for like where I was going to get characters before the end of the run, right? But for the vast majority of writing unconventional, I didn't know what the hell we were doing, what I was going to do next. I just wrote the next story that came up into my head. And that's how most shows are written. It's like some of my favorite television shows of all, my favorite TV show of all time is Deep Space Nine, right? And while there are serialized arcs that come in there, they didn't really have a master plan. And like Star Trek shows in the 90s, they'd go like, okay, we're just going to run 170 something episodes and just have a cool 2-parter finale. It's like, that's how you made Star Trek in the 90s. In a non-science fiction example, let's take The West Wing. Aaron Sorkin, when he was writing the show, he wrote the first 4 seasons, right? He's big, famous, like, prestige drama showrunner. Everybody, his moment may be a little past now, but like Aaron Sorkin, hot shit, right? Like everybody loved Aaron Sorkin, his writing at least. I don't know what they felt about him on an interpersonal level. I've never met the man, but he famously would write cliffhangers with no freaking idea what the resolution was.
Well, and if I may interject, I think this is how most writing in general happens. For example, I participate in National Novel Writing Month, where you try to write an entire book in 30 days. And, you can plan as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you're sitting there trying to get your word count in for that day, and you're just like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Let's write this section. I have no idea what it's going to do later. But okay. And then like later on you come back in the edit and then you try to like fit the pieces together. And these people who are working on these shows are running on a much tighter timeline.
Yeah. And like kind of going off of something that we implied before, I think it's good to have an idea of where you want to end it, but it's also good to have that openness of like, what if 2 actors have way more chemistry than what you had planned for?
Exactly. Like,
or yeah,
something you've written before may come back and you could be like, oh wait, I could tie this bit I wrote just now to that bit I wrote earlier and like tie that up in a nice little bundle.
Ask me how I come up with Stormwood and Associates meta arcs.
Yeah, right?
Yup. So yeah, it just seems like and like I think some of the readings that you have, Trey, are a lot more generous than some of the I've encountered people on Twitter just going at it from the perspective of, oh, they're gonna milk this thing dry. They have no intention of giving it a satisfying conclusion. They just want to run it into the ground. It's like, well,
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Like,
do they not know how television works?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a I watched every season of Supernatural, all right? That show was supposed to end more than once. Like, that's the whole thing. Supernatural had an intended end, and then they wrote season 6. All right? Like, that show ran for almost 3 times past its intended end point. Like, it's... sometimes planning to end is not necessarily, like, great, because then like it's good to have a satisfying ending when you know you're going to end the show, right? Like I think that's why it's really important that when like that showrunners either end shows on their own terms, or that like I like it when a show gets renewed for a final season. So the writers know when they're writing that final season that they're coming to an end, or at least writers when they know that our ratings are kind of low, we should write the end of this season as a possible end of the show. That's the more common way for it to happen. Like,
because like,
Which is not a bad. I don't think that's a bad way of approaching it either.
No.
Like,
and just because they don't have an ending for the whole series now doesn't mean that they're not going to find one later. Because it's popular enough that it's probably like they're probably banking on it continuing at least another season or two.
Yeah.
And they can find it late. They can find the ending later.
I think a look at Jericho is a show that hardly anyone probably remembers, but it was a post-apocalyptic show starring Skeet Ulrich. But they got canceled after season 1. Season 1 had a cliffhanger. They had a fan campaign which brought the show back for a season 2, and the showrunners wrote and filmed 2 different endings for season 2. The we think we're going to get canceled ending, and the we think we're going to get renewed ending. And where
I kind of dig that.
We think we're going to get canceled ending gave a resolution to the story.
I legitimately like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of a smart thing to do.
And they aired the we were pretty sure we're canceled ending. They were. But, yeah. Like, you can just not have a plan.
Just wait until they actually, like, get canceled without a resolution. Then be mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is a dumb thing to be mad about.
Well, but it's like you take shows that were supposed to have an ending, like Lost, and Lost was supposed to end years before it did, but it was so successful the network wanted to keep renewing it, so they had to keep putting off the ending. And I actually like the way Lost ended. I'm in that camp of I knew what show I was watching, where I think a lot of the people who don't like Lost ending, I think never figured out the kind of show the writers were trying to make, and desperately wanted it to be a different kind of show that they would prefer. And I think that was the big disconnect with Lost's finale, where people didn't like the ending of Lost because they thought they were watching a different show. And so it's not their fault that they didn't like it. Like, I'm not going to say that. Like, it's you're allowed to not like it. But I was on board with the intention, and where a lot of people weren't. But that show milked out.
Sorry.
And well, what I was saying is that like they end up having to milk out and stretch some stuff because they had to make it longer while still eventually getting to that end goal. And so, so that's why you end up with people getting off the island and then having to go back to the island. It's Prison Break. We're going to break out of prison. Now we're going to break into prison. Now we're going to break out of that other prison.
My hot take on The Mandalorian so far is that while I have enjoyed the seasons, both of the season 1 and the season 2 finale have been satisfying to the point that I would love to see more, but if that was the ending, I would still feel completely satisfied.
I do
That's my hot, I guess, lukewarm hot take, is that it's like, I honestly think season 1 has a really satisfying conclusion, and then season 2 happened. It's like, that's heartbreaking, but also satisfying.
I do feel bad for anybody who is going into season 3 not having watched Book of Boba Fett and doesn't realize that it was required viewing. For, like, they're going to be like, why is Grogu there? Didn't he just give away Grogu? Like, it's going to make the eventual DVD box set in 20 years, like, really confusing.
Yeah, assuming Disney decides to actually do
it's going to make the inevitable pirated DVD box set.
Okay, there we go.
You'll notice I said DVD. I didn't say any HD formats.
Okay, no, good point.
I was talking about I used the last technology that was widely inexpensive to produce your own bootlegs on.
Fair. Which, I don't know. That might be don't trust streaming services, kids. Might not be a bad idea. Just saying.
Anyways, I guess speaking of stuff on streaming services,
Kinda?
some of
I mean,
it.
yeah, half of this is on streaming services. Um, so, I guess the biggest like piece of like nerd news, so to speak, was that James Gunn revealed the first wave of um, the DC cinematic universe that he has been brought in to try to wrangle after several failed attempts at wrangling it.
Yeah,
Um,
for better or for worse.
for better or for worse. So yeah, our man James Gunn is coming in and is titling this phase of film and TV Gods and Monsters. Okay.
Justice League.
So the weird thing that I'm feeling about this so far is just the fact that they're doing this whole that the plan is apparently to have the same actors for TV shows, movies, and from what James Gunn said, animated series and video games as well. That seems kind of weird to me. Like it's very ambitious. I don't know if I'm
It is, and it's so like okay. So he's got Creature Commandos, a 7-episode animated series that Gunn wrote that's already in production. We've got a spin-off of
that's not
Peacemaker.
fun.
We got a spin-off of Peacemaker called Waller, following Viola Davis as Waller, and then we've got and it's being written by the Crystal Henry, who worked on the Watchmen TV series, and Jeremy Carver, the creator of Doom Patrol TV show.
So those are two shows I loved.
Yeah.
So
then they're doing Superman Legacy, which is the kind of Superman prequel thing. I don't know, like
it's
not
a
an
reboot,
origin
at the
story,
very least.
but it's
but it's-
And they've got Lanterns, which is not the Greg Berlanti series that was being worked on, because Greg Berlanti's kind of parting ways as the Arrowverse is winding down.
do you blame him?
No, I don't. No, it sounds it sounds more like yeah. Anyways, so they're it's gonna be our vision is just very much in the vein of True Detective. Safran said, the guy who's doing stuff with Gunn. Anyways, then they've got The Authority, which is coming out. It's going to be a movie.
That's the one that I understand least. I'm going to be honest.
Well,
with
it's
you.
Wildstorm
That's the one that I'm
characters.
most
Yeah,
confused
I
on.
don't really know the Wildstorm characters, so I don't really like. Yeah,
It's like what if the boys, but the 7 were the main characters. Some have described the book to me.
Yeah. Then we've got Paradise Lost, which is going to be set on Themyscira, or Themyscira. I always mispronounce Paradise Island. It was easy in the 70s. All right.
Can I give a quick thing? I really do feel like Paradise Lost. It's set on Paradise Island, but I can't help but feel like we need to acknowledge Wonder Woman, but we're not sure if we're going to keep Gal Gadot. So this is our compromise for the time being.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
So I hope they keep Gal Gadot. I like her in the part. Unless she said something terrible I'm not aware of, and I don't want you to tell me about it right now if she did.
Okay.
Because we're going to move on. Then they're doing The Brave and the Bold, which is going to be the DCU Batman, which...
will not be Robert Pattinson.
No, because
Batman.
It's gonna be a different Batman. So they're gonna do that with Damian Wayne as Robin, based off of one of the Grant Morrison's runs on Batman.
I really like Grant Morrison Batman, so I'm good with that mostly.
So we don't know who Batman's gonna be in that movie, but we do know it won't be Pattinson. But it's okay. So besides that, unrelated to the continuity of the DCU, they are going to make a sequel to The Batman called The Batman Part 2.
And apparently they're still doing that Penguin TV show for HBO as well.
Yeah.
So that's
there's
weird.
a Booster Gold HBO Max series.
I have one friend who's super into Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Who is
You have
very
two
excited.
friends, Gen, because I'm right here.
We almost had him in the Arrow. We had him briefly in the Arrowverse for like 2 episodes of Legends, and he would have been a main character in Legends of Tomorrow, played by
And it
Donald
was Turk.
Faison. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they've also got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
That comic is wild and will make a really cool movie if they play their cards right.
And then they're making a Swamp Thing movie.
Yes! 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 I'm away from my microphone so I'm not as loud. Yes!
And we still have coming up the Shazam movie, Fury of the Gods in March, along with The Flash, in June, Blue Beetle, and then Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Those are all still coming.
And it
this
sounds
year.
like they're committing to the whole Flashpoint reboot the universe thing, which I'm worried that's gonna scare off casual moviegoers, honestly. I don't know.
It's so like, and there are things though that we have to think of that are casualties of this slate and this shift. Doom Patrol has been canceled. And then so Doom Patrol's canceled. I don't know if Titans has been renewed.
Titans also got canceled.
Titans also got canceled, and Dead Boy Detectives has been was canceled at HBO Max but picked up by Netflix. So Netflix is going to make the Dead Boy Detectives series. But so
a bunch of shows that aren't in continuity are going to get an Elseworlds label, so that includes the Robert Pattinson The Batman sequels. Hilariously, that also includes Teen Titans Go is going to have an Elseworlds logo on it, in case you can't figure out that that's not main continuity.
I mean, I'm a little sad to see Titans Go, if only for like not hearing the most creative theme song ever for a show. Dun 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 dun. I have opinions about Titans. I've watched every episode. It was not good, but I liked it. I think that was like, it had high points. It's not good, but I liked it. Was my impression of Titans.
Whereas I think Doom Patrol might be one of the best.
Doom Patrol is amazing, and I'm so mad that it's done. I want more.
I love it, but there's also that part of me that's like, I think I would rather it go out on a high note than.
I would have liked it to end with an informed, "Hey, this is your final season." I think that's what I would want. I would want them to know they were doing a final season.
That's fair. I don't know. Doom Patrol is one of the best superhero shows of recent memory, so that's to me is the one of the biggest losses, not counting what happened to Batgirl, which I'm still angry about.
Yeah.
Probably be angry
Well, the problem
about.
is with Batgirl is it's still like it could still in some ways Batgirl is still the movie that it could be in my head. So like
True.
It is true. That movie could suck. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But like because it's this unknown, it could also be all the unfulfilled potential I imagine for it. So that's why that one's hard. Doom Patrol, on the other hand, I know Doom Patrol is good.
Yeah,
and I still recommend you watch it because it is amazing.
Hard agree. Yeah, it's 4 amazing seasons of television. Just a really, really smart, really well-written show. A few trigger warnings do apply, but it's worth it.
Every actor in that cast is amazing. Again, have you watched Doom Patrol yet?
Not yet, but it's on my list.
You should watch it.
I will.
If nothing else, like if you're in Janesville again, I will happily rewatch the first season of Doom Patrol with you because I
gotta come down and visit.
It's one of my favorite TV shows.
What we do is we tape Gen to a chair and tape her eyes open and Clockwork Orange this thing.
No. I'll
Also,
watch
you
it
get to hear-
voluntarily.
And you get to hear Brendan Fraser say "What the f" like constantly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, I just want to say to Mr. Gunn, do good or we'll bring back the Carnival of Sadness.
Yeah, man. Like,
don't make us bring it out, because we will.
don't make us.
It's right there. It's right there.
Man, you
on
got
the way.
James. James, I know you listen to the podcast. I need
Yes,
I
James
need
Gunn listens
Swamp
to our
Thing
show,
to
absolutely.
finally get his due. Cause like
I don't know, man. It's like they canceled Swamp Thing before it aired. The last time they had a Swamp Thing.
like and that show was awesome.
I only watched a few episodes of it. I liked it, but it didn't hold me enough to keep watching it, I'll admit.
I loved it.
But to be fair, I
that's-
also stopped watching it because like I was like, I kind of like this, but I already know it's canceled, so do I really want to get invested?
It also had that unfortunate fate of when it aired on broadcast TV. It was when the CW was like looking for things to run because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And since the main like push of the plot of the first season is Dr. Abigail Arcane looking at a like the beginnings of a pandemic in Louisiana, I can understand why people might not have wanted to watch that. Like, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want DC to do something great. I think these are great characters. I want to see Superman done justice on a big screen. Supergirl goofing off in space with Krypto is a great idea for a movie. Robin, audiences need to finally accept that a Batman story without Robin is an incomplete version of the character.
Yeah.
I really want this to work, but
Here's my thought. This is my final thought. And on my final thoughts, obviously you can have as many thoughts as you want and say them as long as you want, but this is my thought. I kind of don't, if it fails, then it'll just be bad and I won't watch it. If it succeeds, it's great, but I have stopped rooting for anything. Like, I have now gone to the point where I will watch it if it's good, I will stop watching it if it's bad, and I am no longer going to anticipate any of it. Because I have been let down so many times, but there have been surprises that I've enjoyed. Like, I loved Peacemaker. Peacemaker was incredible, right? So
Yeah.
like I'm still giving it shots. I'm still gonna try stuff out as long as I'm still subscribing to the service. But if I get annoyed with HBO Max because I'm mad at Warner Brothers Discovery, I'll stop. Like, it's really whether or not I stick with this is far more conditional on the parent company's behavior than anything else at this point. Because I do not care enough right now to keep paying them money if I can't rely on them. And so that's the trust actually here. It's not James Gunn's to lose me. It is Warner Brothers Discovery's to lose me.
No, you're completely right, because I mean we keep HBO, Warner Brothers Discovery, and by extension HBO Max have been so unreliable.
Well, and also this is like the fifth plan.
Yeah. How many DC movie slates have we? Back in the first year of the show, we were talking about their slate of movies, and theoretically, this Flash movie coming out this year is the same movie that has been in production hell since this show started.
Yeah.
By the way, I have no interest in seeing the Flash movie. I'm sorry.
I do. The sad thing is that I want the following. I want to see this movie, and then I want Ezra Miller to fall in a hole.
See, it's that thing of
And
like
just we all forget he existed ever, and he just goes away forever. But I do want to see this movie because of everything else involved in this movie.
I don't get me wrong. I actually liked Ben Affleck's Batman. Everyone knows how much I like Michael Keaton. I think Sasha Calle deserves a fair shake. I'm sure her Supergirl is great. I just I I was in college when the Flashpoint comic came out, and this is like the third or fourth adaptation of Flashpoint during like since then.
Yeah, so
It hasn't been that
they did it
long,
on the
and
show, and they did the animated Flashpoint, didn't they?
Yeah, the animated movie they did before the TV show did it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was another adaptation in there, though I might be making that up. I don't know.
It is an important movie because it's gonna let them reset the universe.
I mean, I guess I don't know. We
Here.
could do it without the fanfare and without giving a criminal a criminal kidnapper money. Like I don't.
Hey,
Like,
but at least they're a non-binary criminal kidnapper.
yeah, that makes me feel so much better. Yay!
God.
Wow.
I mean, I have, like, I want to liken the DCU to, like, an abusive lover, where it's like, like, like they keep promising, like, oh, but this time it's gonna be good, it's gonna be better, and it's just like, yeah, but like, so many disappointments pile up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well,
It's
here's the problem: is that they like traditionally here's the thing: when Marvel would fuck up historically, with the MCU, is like they still committed to their over arc, right? Like they would cancel some stuff, like, you know, maybe cancel one or two movies or something like that, or slide something down the line, but like overall, like if they set out a plan and told you the plan would largely happen, right?
Yeah.
DC has not done that. DC will like tell you there's a plan and then change it and then change it again and then rewrite the whole thing and then make you all these promises and then change it. And then and you think you're going to give up, and then you get a Peacemaker, or you get, you know, an Aquaman,
or the Suicide Squad.
or the yeah, they'll give you Suicide
give you,
Squad,
like,
and then they'll give you the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tiny nuggets of gold in big piles of poo.
Yeah. But and to be fair, a lot of that has to do with the fact that the DCEU, saying DCU is going to throw me off every single time. Like it doesn't, like, I've been saying DCEU for, you know, a decade. It's
well, you know,
it
the
rolls
only
off the
way
tongue
we
better.
can save this, we gotta restore the Snyderverse.
Well, here's the thing: is it's like there really wasn't a centralized person running the show the way there was at Marvel. Like Kevin Feige, like, was from, you know, from the get of them, like, had a plan, not a good, like, not like a plan, but like had like a kind of a thematic vision that he linked everything into. You know, it's the MCU ran more like a television show.
Yeah.
But because of that, they were able to actually, like, maintain a tone and maintain, like, their shit. You know, it's for better or for worse. There are bad things about that, but the good thing about it is they were tonally consistent, and it helped them, like, maintain an audience. DC
Sometimes you get a
has not
Thor
done
the
that.
Dark World, but yeah.
Thor the Dark World is far from the worst. Sometimes you get an Eternals.
Okay, that's, but yeah, like, well, I was going with an older from from a saga that we know actually went somewhere, as opposed to
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's the thing. We've gotten so many promises from various versions of Warner Brothers under various parent companies that I sure seems like an interesting plan. Let's see how that plays out, Cotton.
I'm I'll give one more bit of my 2 cents. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Joker wasn't my thing, but
Wait,
I
there's no
think
mention of Joker 2 in this article I was reading.
it's apparently still happening.
I
'Cause
know,
they
it's a
released-
musical.
But like, all I'm saying is that, well, Joker certainly wasn't my thing. I know people for whom Birds of Prey wasn't their thing, but I actually think the thing I enjoyed most was when they stopped trying to have a cohesive universe and they were just like, hey, let's make some good movies on their own. Because then we got a good Aquaman movie that just worked on its own, and a good Shazam movie that just worked on its own, and a good Birds of Prey movie that just kind of worked on its own.
Yeah, DC's obviously trying to copy what Marvel accomplished, and it's just not working. So, like, why keep trying when you can just do something else?
Yeah, just
like make the individual films, which somehow turn out to be good. Like,
well, and sometimes they don't. Like, sometimes you end up with Black Adam. I mean, Black Adam
True.
I actually liked Black Adam, but did not do financially well. So from a Hollywood point of view.
Yeah.
But like, I get but like, I really liked just having it be like, hey, James Gunn is making this vulgar, violent, anti-capitalist Suicide Squad movie, and Todd Phillips is doing a Martin Scorsese pastiche with a Batman villain, and Kathy Yan is doing a R-rated girl gang movie, and Matt Reeves is doing a neo-noir with Batman.
Yeah,
I just
DC
think
needs to embrace its weird.
Yeah, like, just letting directors do their own thing, I think, was really cool, and I'm kind of sad that this could be a more homogenized whatever coming out the other end.
I guess we will find out.
Indeed.
Speaking of finding out
and effing around, no.
Well, so, I feel like this would have been better if I'd put this after the Mandalorian story, the rundown, done the DC thing first, then the Mandalorian. Because speaking of streaming services and kind of the opposite, the Mandalorian didn't have an ending. Picard does, because Picard season 3 is the final season, and it is currently airing on a streaming service, Paramount Plus.
Final frontier, indeed.
And it is, we're a couple episodes into the season. I've been watching it. Have either of you been watching Picard?
Nope.
I haven't yet, because I never watched season 2. And my co-host of our other sister show, Casual Trek, Miles Reed Lobato, told me that I could probably watch it without season 2.
You actually probably could.
So I might do that.
Okay, so different people have different thoughts about Picard season. I like Picard season 2 a lot. I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. However, all 3 seasons of this show have effectively felt like they were kind of standalone stories that, like, while characters carry over from them, like, you don't necessarily, like, they're kind of disconnected stories. I think you need to have seen season 1 to see season 2 or season 3, but I think that you could pretty easily jump into season 3 not having seen season 2. Partially it has to do with the fact that season 2 is a time travel story. So, like, the beginning and end of season 2 are effectively the same moment in time. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel bad that I haven't watched any of season 3, because it literally came out on my birthday. And when I heard that announcement, I was like, oh, a Next Generation cast reunion for my birthday. What a nice gift. And I feel like I put my nose up.
I feel in many ways, season 3 is interesting because, like, there was a cast of characters with seasons 1 and 2 who were, like, very much the cast of the show Star Trek Picard, right? And I feel like when we get to season 3, we keep Rafi. And we keep 7 of 9. But we jettisoned the rest of the cast. They are just gone. There is no sign of them, and I don't believe they appear this season. I know there are some characters I know for sure that the actors just do not appear this season. Because they were asked about it in the press for season 2, and they have said, well, they've already started making it, and I'm not in it about season 3. Uh,
Oh no.
so like there are
I do
characters who
love I do love Jerry Ryan's captain uniform. It is so cool. Sorry, 7 of 9 as a captain is like the coolest thing in the world to me.
Commander.
Commander? Okay, I'm sorry.
Commander.
I haven't watched the show yet. I just really think she looks cool.
At the beginning of the season, obviously she's the first officer on the new Titan.
And I've seen
It's
the
not
design of
Riker.
the Titan.
Yeah,
I think it's gorgeous.
yeah. It's not the Titan that Riker commanded. It's the Titan A. It's the same registry number with an A after it, so it's a different ship than Riker's previous command. But yeah, it's so 7 is the first officer on the on the Titan. And yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm enjoying it. It does it pretty much if many ways Picard has been almost just an anthology series, just happening to stick with the same continuity, but it feels like an anthology series in that way. I'm enjoying it so far. It's Picard. I do feel like with season 3, and this is I think there are people who will disagree with me, but I do feel like they've leaned in a bit much on this being a Next Generation reunion, more so than the continuation of the show that I just watched for 2 seasons. And some people are going to be happy about that because there are people who didn't like the show that I watched for 2 seasons, but I really did. And so in many ways I am sad about that. That said, I am enjoying the show I'm getting. Right? So I am enjoying season 3 so far. I'm really enjoying these characters. I'm enjoying the returning faces that we've seen so far, where we've gotten, obviously Riker's shown up previously in Picard, but getting him as effectively one of the main cast this season, and because it's him, and right now it's been Picard and Riker have been kind of going together on their storyline, almost in a buddy cop fashion. I think Butch and Sundance was the comparison also that I heard.
Excellent.
But I'm enjoying the show that we're getting. It's I don't want to spoil anything for people who might be going into it, but obviously this is people have talked about it as a Next Generation reunion. It is, in the sense that there's a bunch of characters from Next Generation showing up, but it is also still kind of Picard as a show, so it's there is no Enterprise, guys. So don't expect anybody to be on the USS Enterprise. That has, at least at the point of the season that we're at in late February, not shown up, and I don't believe it's going to show up this season. But we open up the season opens up on Beverly Crusher. It's
nice. I mean, I like Gates McFadden, so I'm
yeah,
all on board for that. But
we've seen, we've seen Crusher, we've seen, obviously Picard and Riker. We get at this point we've seen Worf briefly. And
let's say I know LeVar Burton and his daughter get some screen time together.
We have LeVar Burton's character's daughter, Geordi's daughter.
No, it's his real life daughter.
Oh, this is it played by LeVar Burton's actual daughter?
LeVar Burton's actual daughter. Yeah, she's a pretty famous cosplayer and nerd culture commentator. So she has been in the scene for a while, but now she's getting to do the show with her actual biological dad playing Geordi LaForge's daughter.
All right, because
yeah, that's Mika Burton.
Misha.
Oh, pardon me, Misha. God,
that is not okay. Sidney LaForge is not played by Misha Burton. I don't know who you're talking about. Ashley Sharp Chestnut plays LaForge's daughter. The one we've met on the show so far.
Well,
and she's definitely not LeVar Burton's daughter.
LeVar Burton's daughter isn't okay. Ensign Alondra LaForge.
Okay, we've met Ensign Sidney LaForge.
Yeah, Alondra LaForge is his. Yeah, that's
The character apparently must have 2 daughters.
More than one.
Yeah.
What a concept. Says the female who has an elder sister.
Well, no, it's
and therefore is one of 2 daughters.
Okay, so I know that
Sorry.
because, like, okay, so right now the only one we've met is Sidney LaForge. It's the only one who's shown up on screen so far. That's why I was confused, because I don't think that's a character we've met. It's not a character we've met so far in the show. Alondra LaForge is the name of one of Geordi's kids in an alternate future in in All Good Things.
Yeah, I don't follow her as closely, but I have some friends who follow
what's her name?
from her.
Misha Barton.
Right.
Misha Barton.
Yeah, it's spelled Mick Burton.
I was gonna say definitely not Misha Barton. Is that okay? Am I?
Maybe my Midwest accent is hecking things up, or my sleepy brain.
Yeah, because she used to do like she was also one of the people who like exposed how racist it was working at Rooster Teeth for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I know who she is. I didn't know she was LeVar Burton's. I don't think she's credited right now as being in.
I just do from her social media feed. She made a big deal about the fact that she was never a Star Trek kid, but she got matching uniforms with her dad.
Okay, yeah, so they are both. Yeah, she is in here. I'm fine. It's there. Yeah, the episodes that she's in have not aired yet, so that's why. So that's why you have me confused, because we have met a character who is introduced as Geordi LaForge's daughter, who is an ensign on the Titan. And I was like, that was not. I didn't know that Mika Burton, like, because I'm familiar with Mika Burton from like The Know on like Rooster Teeth stuff from years ago, but I didn't know that she was LeVar Burton's daughter. That's interesting.
Yeah, she's.
Now I'm wondering where I heard Misha.
Oh, Misha Barton is a different actress. Misha Barton.
That's where I got confused.
Is probably best known for the OC.
Where did that come from in my brain? I don't watch the OC.
Say white blonde lady.
Benjamin, why?
Mika Burton and Misha Barton.
Why?
Different people.
Why do you let me podcast when my brain is this gloopy?
I don't even have a brain. You're fine.
My brain is so smooth right now.
You'll make it. We're most of the way through.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get us that far off track.
So anyway, Picard's been pretty good. I'm enjoying Picard. It's fun. It's not the show I wanted it to be, but it's fine. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
I'll watch it soon.
Yeah. Do or do not. There is no try, I guess. That's a different franchise. Anyway, that's our early part of the Picard season review.
So another show that apparently you guys have been watching that I know nothing about.
You know who's not a smooth brain?
Who's not a smooth brain?
Charlie.
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne's character on Poker Face.
Yes.
The reason to pay for Peacock right now.
Yup.
Not
Like,
kidding.
well,
It's
not kidding.
that's the
Like,
current
legit,
reason.
it's
That's
that good.
so for those of you who don't know, Poker Face is created by Ryan Johnson. Um, it was real funny. The advertising for Poker Face of it is they kept like talking about him as like the creator of Knives Out, while Glass Onion is like this huge critical success, but not wanting to say Glass Onion in any of the promotional stuff
So weird.
because it was on a competing streaming service. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So Poker Face stars Natasha Lyonne as Charlie, who is a person who there is a small superpower conceit in that she can tell when anyone is lying. She just has a sense whether or not people are lying or not.
Mm.
It doesn't mean she knows whether or not you're saying is true. She just knows whether or not you believe it. And it's it for most of the show, so it's she ends up like kind of at the end of the first episode on the run from the pub. So every episode she's effectively in a different town, ending up in a different situation, and someone else gets murdered. And the way the show is structured is well, just to be frank, Ryan Johnson flat out said he was watching a bunch of Columbo, and like it is that sense where you spend the first act of the whole show with the killers and the murder without the main character at all. All right, you and then unlike Columbo, where Columbo then just shows up after the murder, on Poker Face you flash back to where Charlie was this whole time and how she was oftentimes literally just off camera.
Okay, no, that's delightful.
It is great. And it's the cast is amazing because I mean Natasha Lyonne is as the lead, she's great. And when I say like if you were gonna make a modern Columbo, Natasha Lyonne is the most Peter Falk person you could possibly cast. From
it's
the
so
way
good.
she moves to the way she talks to every bit of her energy on screen is Peter Falk. And I say this like I've been rewatching old Columbos because Krista and I caught up on Poker Face, and I was just like, you want to watch some Columbos? Let's go watch Columbo because I want to watch more of this. But we've watched all of this that exists, so we've been watching Columbos on and off over the last few weeks too. But it is so good. It is if you like Columbo, you will like Poker Face. Like the homage to Columbo.
This show's going to be a huge hit in Japan. You're telling me.
The homage to Columbo even comes down to like the way that they do the titles on the screen in the same yellow font.
Oh my god.
And just Poker Face in giant letters across the screen. And then the title of the episode. Yeah. In big yellow block letters. It is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's.
Yes.
If you like Columbo, you will like Poker Face, and you should watch the hell out of it. I think everybody should watch this show. It is
if
just
you're unsure
it's
about
amazing.
it, you can watch the first episode for free.
Yeah, you can go watch the first episode for free. Peacock's
So at
pretty
least
cheap
do
too.
that.
Though. Yeah, go watch it. And I don't think the first episode's the strongest episode, but it is. Like my favorite episode so far has actually been the one that Charlie shows up, I think, the latest into it, and it's where like we're following this kind of washed up rock band on tour, and like they have to recruit a new drummer, and like this is like this rock band that had like one hit, and God, who are in that? The cast in that episode is so great. God, I literally need to pull it up because it is just woof. God, let me pull up the episode guide here. It's just like Yeah, it is Rest in Metal is the name of the episode. I think it's the 3rd episode of the show. And you have Chloe Sevigny playing like the lead singer of this band. But one of the other members of the band is the guy from the Mountain Goats.
Oh, holy shit!
I heard he was. I'm a fan of the Mountain Goats,
Well,
which is an excellent band.
he's friends with Brian Johnson, so
That tracks.
like it's
As the kids say, the Mountain Goats are pretty based.
yeah, it's Krista and I were watching the episode. I was like, "Is that the guy from the Mountain Goats?" And she was like, "Who?" I was like, "Oh God, no! I have to tell you." But like, also in that episode, you have John Hodgman, who's playing this character who's credited as Narc, who is like, they're at like this rock festival, and he's this minor character who just keeps trying to find drugs, and it's just like such a minor part that is not important to the story, except for the fact that Charlie does mistake him for a cop at one point, and it turns out he's not a cop at all. He is just really bad at getting a hold of drugs.
That's great.
Yeah. Just overall, it's watch Poker Face. Watch Poker Face.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should watch Poker Face.
Excellent. No, I'm adding it to my list.
All right. We should do the Vomit Hat Steve challenge.
We should.
All right, folks.
Challenge
Accepted, apparently. All right, so the Vomit Hat Steve challenge is, and this is, we are in the final run of the Vomit Hat Steve challenge, where I'm going to keep going until someone guesses this, and the prize is going to be this book. Because the Vomit Hat Steve challenge is where I read a line from a book, and the challenge to you, the listener, is to guess what book it is. And usually the rewards for guessing it is you get included in the Hall of Awesome, which includes having your name said out loud on the episodes as long as you're doing the Vomit Hat Steve challenge. Your name will be perpetually on our website, on the Hall of Awesome page, on the Nerd and Tie website. And 3, we will give you high fives. But additionally, if you guess this one, the first person to guess this one, besides getting in the Hall of Awesome, will get the book if you live in the continental United States. So I can mail it to you. So on the off chance, one of our few, we do have overseas listeners, I can't mail this to you. But yeah. All right. Here is I should do the current members of the Hall of Awesome are as follows. Arkham Zero, Rena Ascenti, Cheese McDamu, Krista, Slitherity, Shameless Otaku, The Random Ramblings Band, Corefan, Capito, Chris Graham, Willisaurus, Paper Godzilla, Cabsy, The Minnesota Librarians, Sean Orange, Keith Shizuo, Sakura Sunset, Joel Kreisman, Patrick Delahanty, Wonderland Hearts, and Megsy Sass Council. Now I'll read the line from the book. Yes, sir. Tasha glanced over to where the new first officer still hunched over the viewer. If you know what book that's from, go to nerdandtie.com, click on the contact button, and fill out the form and tell us. And I think that's the most obvious line I could have read out of that entire book. When I say my line choosing is random, it is completely random. I open up to a random page and just put my finger down and read that line. And I think that one might have given it away. Oopsie. Ah, well. Yeah. I think that's our show.
Well, it was a delight talking with you fine folks again and informing you lovely listeners for another month. As always, I am Celeste and I am best.
I'm Trey Dorn.
I'm Smooth Brain Genjamin.
And remember, you can subscribe to this show on any podcatcher that you like, be it Apple Podcasts, be it Google Podcasts, be it Spotify, be it Stitcher. Just, sign up and listen every month. And you can rate and review us on platforms like Apple Podcasts, and that really does help show out a bit. It helps us get in front of more people's ears. And we always want to be in front of your ears and not inside them, because that would be weird and uncomfortable for both you and for us at any given point. Remember, you can follow the show on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdandtie. We're on Tumblr at nerdandtie.tumblr.com. And I guess we have a Twitter. We're not paying any fucking attention to it anymore. It's just auto-tweeting off of our website forever until they shut down our API access, which could happen any day now because Elon Musk is a psychopath. Anyways, we still love you either way. Anyways, you can also support this show financially. I've got a Patreon at patreon.com/TRAEGORN. Celeste's got a Patreon at patreon.com/CelesteIsBest. And you can help Gen out financially by purchasing items from Ocelot Dude Designs on Etsy. Isn't that right? Again, what's in the shop right now?
In the shop right now are things and stuff. Lotus pillows.
Ooh, those sound fantastic and wonderful to cuddle with, Gen.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Remember, we're a part of the Nerd and Tie Podcast Network. There's a whole family of shows you could be listening to right now, including the new season of The Meat Grinder. The Meat Grinder Season 3 is a spooky story set in space. It's fun and creepy, and a lot of people die. But not as many as probably should have this time around, but the deaths are still fulfilling and super great. And again,
near the end, one of my favorite characters I've ever played shows up.
That's right, and that updates every 15th on nerdandtie.com/meatgrinder. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of other shows at nerdandtie.com you could be listening to. You should check out all of them. Also, if you'd like to get in contact with any of us or chat with your fellow listeners, there's a great Discord that we have, where all the Nerd and Tie show listeners can get together and talk to each other about how weird we are and why they think we all should be hospitalized. And you can find an invite for that at nerdandtie.com/Discord.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Or not listening. You might not have listened. You could have put this on in the background. We'd be okay with that too.
You could have put this on while you slept.
You could be
I'd be
asleep right
disappointed,
now.
but I'd understand.
This, in fact, you could have put this on as you went to sleep, and you only think you're listening to the show right now. And this is just a dream, Steve. They're coming to get you, Steve. You need to run. You need to get up and run right now. Everything is going wrong. Oh my God. The lizards are coming. All of these tiny lizards, each one of them carrying a pencil. They're here to tell you didn't do your homework on time and you have to give a book report.
Although, trust the leopard gecko. That's the only one you can trust.
I'm just waiting for Trey to bust this voice out on the next episode of Stormwood.
I hadn't planned on it, but I totally could.
You totally could.
I have so many voices.
episode.
I have so many voices I haven't busted out on Stormwood yet.
If we do another future storyline, it could be Starwood and Associates.
You could.
It's in space.
Yes. Turn my smooth brain mistakes into
I'm
actual
sorry.
things.
Genjamin, you just gotta keep calm and keep on spocking in the free world.
Oh, if you don't think that Meat Grinder Season 3 isn't going to somehow tie into a future Stormwood arc, you're sorely mistaken, because every Meat Grinder season ties in to a Stormwood arc. Okay. I'm okay now. Alright, I should probably stop recording the show, huh?
Probably.
I don't know, y'all. In your house, in your minds, in your bushes, whatever.
In your bushes.
Why? I tell people I'm in their bushes outside their window sometimes on this. It's part of my random string of consciousness that I often
Usually
spout out.
because you are, though. It's getting weird.